Good, happy Thursday evening, March 24, 2022. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Thursday evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Thursday evening, so let's get started right now. First up, woman's death in Seabrook fire under investigation. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Dirk Bentley. Beers on Me Tour 2022.
Well, Gene, it's a somber scene here at this mobile home at 115 Centennial Road. The State Fire Marshal's office and Seabrook firefighters here on scene just beginning their investigation. Now, investigators say the mobile home was already fully involved when firefighters arrived just after 3:30 this morning. The department only about 100 yards away. Fire Marshal Sean Toomey says it appears to have started near the front of the home, but there was also fire and heavy smoke towards the back. Toomey says it's too early to know what caused the blaze.
Typically, we find that the mobile homes, just because they're small and sealed compartments, metal structure, they tend to go pretty quickly. We believe this is Section 8 rental housing, so it was inspected regularly as far as working smoke alarms. We haven't been able to confirm that at this point.
They have not confirmed the identification of the victim or how it appears they died. All of that should be known tomorrow after an autopsy is completed. Live in Seabrook, Jennifer Crompton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Psychologist testifies that man accused of assaulting woman in cemetery competent to stand trial. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Home is where life happens, and good housekeeping is where you get everything you need to bring your home to life. From science-backed product reviews to triple-tested recipes to genius organizing hacks, it's a whole world of possibility, all tested for you.
Well, Tom, this suspect is facing several charges, including aggravated felonious sexual assault. The psychologist who evaluated him says he is capable of standing trial. Murray Diol is accused of sexually assaulting a stranger in the Valley Street Cemetery in Manchester almost 1 year ago. As News 9 Investigates reported, 2 days before that, Diol was released from jail for an unrelated case because prosecutors could not get a psychiatric evaluation within the required 90-day window. Since then, county attorneys and the New Hampshire Attorney General's office say they are now getting psychiatric evaluations on suspects done in a timely way. Now, regarding today's hearing, prosecutors are trying to prove that Diol is competent to stand trial. The psychologist who performed the competency evaluation on him testified that Diol did not show signs of psychosis and was capable of understanding his questions.
I concluded that he was capable of both a factual and rational understanding of these proceedings, and that he was capable, although maybe not willing, to understand and work with his attorneys and to participate in the court proceedings.
Now, more testimony is expected in this hearing. This has been continued until April 14th. Reporting live in Manchester tonight, Mike Cronin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Judge denies prosecution request to hold trial of suspected church shooter in June. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
What does it take to be the best? It takes guts.
Bill Holloway returns to Hillsborough Superior Court cell Thursday afternoon. He's charged with attempted murder and is accused of shooting two people at a 2019 wedding in Pelham. Holloway, who has represented himself throughout the majority of his court proceedings, was set to go on trial in June. But a judge recently allowed for that trial to be delayed, given that Holloway has now retained two attorneys.
I am not in any position right now to be ready for a trial in June. I was asked to take this case. I did explain some of my scheduling that had to go on. And the fact is I have multiple trials that I have to do before June, and it would be impossible for me to get caught up on all of the discovery in this case.
Prosecutors filed a motion asking Judge Charles Temple to reconsider the decision, highlighting the victim's rights to a speedy trial. But in the end, Temple sided with the defense and denied that motion.
Obviously, my thoughts are also on the alleged victims of this crime, because they also have a right to speedy trial under the Victim Rights Statute. I made the call at that point, based on the appointment circumstances, that it was necessary to give counsel more time to effectively prepare.
And now both sides will return to court on April 25th to schedule a trial date. Reporting in Nashua, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Trail of climate activists who blocked coal train headed to Bow nears end. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Now, among the charges the five face is misdemeanor criminal trespass for blocking the train on Roby's Bridge in Hooksett. In December of 2019, that protest delayed a train carrying coal to the power plant in Bow. Now, some participants climbed up on the bridge and hung banners. During the trial, the prosecution claimed that the activists had no legal right to be there and knew that they were trespassing. Prosecutors said the activists should not be allowed to break the law in order to get publicity for their cause of stopping climate change. But the defense countered that the prosecution failed to show that the orders issued by police were valid.
There's nothing in evidence to show Pan Am Railways conveyed authority to members of law enforcement to remove people from railroad property, which is a necessary element of the criminal trespass statute.
We shouldn't encourage this. We should discourage it.
Now, the jury was issuing, judge was issuing jury instructions a couple of minutes ago, and the case should go to the jury this afternoon.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Biden announces more Russian sanctions following NATO summit in Brussels. Let's take a listen to that video from MSNBC.
The United States is committed to provide over $2 billion in military equipment to Ukraine since I became president. Anti-air systems, anti-armor systems, ammunition, and our weapons are flowing into Ukraine as I speak. And today, I'm announcing the United States is prepared to commit more than $1 billion in humanitarian assistance to help get relief to millions of Ukrainians affected by the war in Ukraine. Many Ukrainian refugees will wish to stay in Europe, closer to their homes. But we also will welcome 100,000 Ukrainians to the United States with a focus on reuniting families. And we will invest $320 million to bolster democratic resilience and defend human rights in Ukraine and neighboring countries. We're also coordinating with the G7 and the European Union on food security as well as energy security. And I'll have more to say about that tomorrow. We're also announcing new sanctions of more than 400 individuals and entities in alignment with the European Union. More than 300 members of the Duma, oligarchs, and Russian defense companies that fuel the Russian war machine. In addition to the 100,000 U.S. forces now stationed in Europe to defend NATO territory, NATO established, as you already know, 4 new battle groups from Romania, Hungary, Bulgaria, and Slovakia to reinforce the Eastern Front. Putin was banking on NATO being split. My early conversation with him in December and early January was clear to me he didn't think we could sustain this cohesion. NATO has never been more united than it is today. Putin is getting exactly the opposite what he intended to have as a consequence of going into Ukraine. We've built that same unity with the European Union and with the leading democracies of the G7.
Okay, and there you go on that video. And that does it for this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Have a great evening. Good night and goodbye.